the super user gets to install software. You give it your password, and it will install Enpass for you, and then it will show up in your list of programs.
Okay.
As for MoneyDance, you can just go to moneydance.com. Is it .com? I think so. And
It's working.
it's working. Moneydance.com, and that actually takes you to infinitekind.com, but that's okay.
Right.
You go to that, and you should be able to download it.
Yeah, Infinite Kind is
A
the
version
publisher
for
of MoneyDance.
Linux.
Right. There are versions for Windows, Mac OS, Linux, Android OS, and iOS. Sorry, those are the only ones that are available.
Okay, I downloaded that.
And then you open it up in your download folder,
Okay.
double click on it,
Okay.
and it should open up the installation software.
Which is Roller?
Did you download the Debian file?
Debian. Yeah, it's MoneyDance underscore Linux underscore AMD64.deb.
Yeah, Debian.
Yeah.
And when I double click on it, a software opens that's called Roller, ROLLER.
Yeah, that's the unpacker. And what? Interesting.
Yeah, that doesn't sound right.
What it sounds like is I have too many things. and not
Shouldn't the
enough.
Enpass be in his list of software to install?
No, that's Enpass. We're talking about MoneyDance now. We solved the Enpass.
Yeah,
problem.
but I thought just that, like that, MoneyDance was there too.
No, MoneyDance is not there. No,
It's been so long since I installed it.
right. Okay, so fine. Okay, open up the folder that MoneyDance is in, which should be downloads.
Right.
Right-click on it. You should have a pop-up menu at the top of which it probably says "Open with" something.
File. It says File Roller.
Yeah.
ROLLER.
Underneath that is "Open with" and an arrow.
Okay.
If you hover over that, you should get a side menu that opens up, and one of those choices should be software install or the Debian package installer or whatever your version of Linux calls it.
So Roller's like an unzipper.
Yeah, basically Roller is an unzipper.
Unzip.com.
So after it unzips it, then you should get another file. That's the installer?
No, that is the installer.
Okay,
But it is
Opening it with the wrong app.
it's opening it with the wrong app.
Okay. So because I'm not seeing a software installer in the list of files.
Okay, what choices do you have?
Video transmission, Thunderbird text writer, Shotwell.
Hold on, stop. Hold on.
Run software.
Hold on. This is the list you get when you right-click on the file?
Right click and I click on Open With. I have a pop-up that says Open With, and then it's got Cancel and Open at the top, and then it's got a list.
Okay, and somewhere in that list, or maybe at the bottom it says Open with Other Application?
I don't see other, but the Roller thing is at the top, and then other applications, and it lists all the applications that are there. One of them that sounds close is Run Software.
Maybe.
There's a shell script you can download from MoneyDance too.
That might be
would
the
help.
easiest. Yeah, that might be the easier thing to do.
Shell script.
Yeah. Okay. So on the page where you downloaded MoneyDance, there is the Windows version, the Mac version, the Linux version. On the Linux version square, it says alternative install script.
Okay.
And probably the easiest thing is to right click that and save it. And And then what you do is now you're at the command line. You have to go to the command line and then CD space downloads, because that's where it downloaded to.
Right. Uh huh.
And then you say CHMOD plus X and the name of that file.
CHMOV.
MOD as in change the mode is what that stands for. CHMOD. Plus X means make it executable.
X.
X as in exchange X-ray.
Okay, just X. Okay.
And hit enter, and that will, now you have a downloaded shell script that is executable.
Okay.
So now you say sudo space, hit the period key, the /, which is the one underneath the question mark, and the name of that file that you downloaded.
Okay.
Can't you just right click on it and say run?
Well, we're at the command line right now.
No right click.
And then hit enter, and it will come back and ask you for your password.
Could you do it at the GUI and it opens its own command line and runs the script?
Well, once you've, okay, stop. Well, not you, the thing that this is making all this noise on my computer. Once you've downloaded it, you have to make it executable. Depending on the version of Linux you're using, you can right-click on it and say make it executable. Some of them, if you just double-click on it, it'll come back and say, this is not executable.
Yeah.
What do I do with it? And what, it'll say run anyway or make executable or whatever it's going to be. So you could do it that way, and it will then ask you for your password. You're right. You could do it that way. I'm so used to the command line, I tend to just do everything there. But in terms,
I did do I did the Chromium.
Yeah.
And I had to do it on the command line, and I'm not good at doing that much typing.
Sure.
But I managed to get it done. So that was one experiment I did.
Right. Well, try what Steve said. Open up the download folder in the graphical user interface and double click on that downloaded file. It should come up and say, I can't run this. Do you want to run it anyway, or do you want to make it executable, or what do you want to do? And if you get a choice of run it anyway, run it. If not, you say make executable and then double click on it again, and it should run the installer for you.
It's a 145 meg script.
It's a big script. You got to download it first.
Okay. Well, I got some work to do.
Yes, you do.
And looking, the laptop has a built-in camera, but I can't seem to access it or find it in Ubuntu.
There is a program called Cheese, which lets you take pictures or videos from your webcam.
As in say cheese?
As in say cheese. And it should be, I think, it's either in accessories or in multimedia. I don't have it installed on this machine, but it should be in one of those two.
Wow. You've definitely got me into an area that I'm not extremely comfortable.
You will be. This is a learning phase. You're exploring.
A very old dog learning new tricks.
This is what keeps you young, Fred.
And the in the apps, there's one that's called Camera.
Okay.
And when I click on that, it says no camera found.
Driver.
Yeah, that's a driver issue. So what you can do is, again, I don't know, I'm using a different version of Linux than you are, but generally speaking, somewhere in the maybe in the settings manager, you get the drivers. I mean, it depends on what version you're using. But in some of the, somewhere in, say, for example, systems, you'll see that software and updates program. And one of the choices in there should be additional drivers. See, one of the things that Linux does is it does not install proprietary drivers automatically. You have to tell it, I want them anyway.
Yeah, I did select that when I did the install. There was a button for, there was a selection for that.
Huh.
On install, it says proprietary something or other. I think help.
No, I get it. I get it.
I ran the software updates. I ran the firmware updates. But I didn't see anything with the adding drivers. But I'll have to look for it, and we could take the whole 2 hours with this. I've already probably got 8 or 10 hours in tinkering with this one laptop, so
Right.
it's going to be a while.
You just got to be patient, and you'll learn more as you go along. And
When in doubt, Google on the YouTube how to.
and
Yeah.
you know,
And it looks like the Linux users group is defunct.
yeah.
Because there's a lot of great YouTube videos out there in installing and setting up Linux.
Yeah.
I kind of a favor just to confirm my what I'm experiencing here. Can you open up the website for Enpass at your end?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I searched for Enpass on Google,
Yep.
and then it led me to enpass.io.
I'm getting a gateway timeout error.
Yep, that's what I got.
And now I'm getting it too.
Okay.
We took it down.
I took it down.
Okay.
It used to be slash dotting.
Maybe it's a sun flare issue.
Could be.
Well, that's exactly right.
Major one going on right now. I mean, all the bands as far as ham radio are concerned are totally zapped.
So I'm just thankful that I still have electricity in the place. So because a lot of places have gone, they're talking about it knocking out.
Support.npass.io still works,
But the main, yeah, I got a gateway timeout
but
too.
the www doesn't work.
I guess the only thing at this point is to wait a little.
But
Wait a
you
while.
can go to support.npass.io, and then there's a Linux button, and you can maybe find what you're working for under there.
Okay, I will try that too. All right, I have plenty to do. I'll let you know on how it goes.
Yeah.
Have fun.
All right, let us know. Thanks, Fred.
All right, you take care.
Yep, you too. Yeah, we should talk about the fact that there was an extremely significant solar flare yesterday. No, day before. And it has the potential to take out a lot of electronics. And it is clear that some places got hit.
And you could see the Aurora Borealis as far south as Florida,
Yeah.
which is amazing. Of course, it was cloudy here. We're hoping for tonight. Is it
Right.
going to be cloudy again tonight? And whenever there's a astronomical event, it's always cloudy. Well, it's always cloudy, period.
Well, they showed some of the pictures from Lackawanna, and
Yeah.
the Aurora Borealis was phenomenal.
Yeah.
But yeah, right now, as you folks don't know, I'm a big ham operator now, and all the bands, from the top down to the bottom, even down to or up to the UHF and VHF, they're all blurred out because of the activity on the sun. It is a major storm. But we're in that cycle right now because the sun goes through a 10-year cycle where it acts up for, and slowly builds up for 10 years and then cools down.
If you still have your solar eclipse glasses, you can see some of the sunspots on the sun
Right.
with the naked eye. Well, behind the solar glasses, because they're bigger than Earth.
Yeah.
Well, a good one to see if you want to see the activity and that the sun is doing. There's a they call her the Space Woman, and it's Tamitha Scove, and she is the space weather doctor that because they all call her Dr. T, and she does a 20-minute segment describing of all the activity that's going on in the sun, and she'll show you the flares, the pop-ups, and everything else, and what it's going to cause as far as blackouts and everything else, and quite interesting.
Nice. Also, if you can get to it, downdetector.com will show you, particularly today, that there's a lot of stuff out. There's a lot of stuff having problems today. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't mean the main site is down. What may have happened is that one of the intermediary steps between you and that site is down.
These flares, basically, bottom line, cause communication blackouts.
Right.
And that affects both your phones, the internet, and any other type of devices.
Yep. And all you can do is ride it out at this point. That's it.
It's Mother Nature. She's got control.
She wins.
No matter what technology we come up with, it ain't getting around her.
That's exactly right. All right, back to the phones. Our next caller is Ed from Henrietta, New York. What's up, Ed?
Yeah, hi. I wondered when I got my old phone and the store transferred the data over to the new phone, some pictures didn't come over, and they're not on my old phone or the new phone. I wondered if there was any kind of program that you'd suggest or whatever to see where they might be hiding, assuming they come over. You know?
Well, first, what phone did you have, and what phone did you get?
I had a Android. I think it was called a J7 Crown, and then I got the new 5G A14. Most of them came over okay. I mean, there's a few, but
they should have all been stored in your Google account and come over through Google.
Well, are these both Samsung phones?
Oh yeah, yeah. Android.
Maybe in the Samsung account.
They might be in your Samsung account. So when you sign into the phone, Android phones generally give you all of the Google apps. Samsung pushes their own apps.
Right.
So your pictures may be stored in up in the cloud with Samsung or with Apple. With Google. So depending on which of those it is, you would need to either log into your Google account and look at the photos online, or log into your Samsung account and look at the photos online. And whatever is stored up there should be downloadable to your phone itself.
And they shouldn't have erased the old phone, so they should still be there
It
too.
should still be there too.
But you said they weren't on the old phone anymore?
No, just about 2 or 3 that are kind of throwaway type pictures. I just checked them again before I called you guys, and I went into the old phone, and I checked all over that one, where they might be hidden in archives or whatever.
That's weird.
Well, that's why they didn't go to the new phone, because they're not on the old phone. But where did they go on the old phone?
Yeah, because usually phones go, they don't move stuff, they just copy. They always usually just copy everything from an old phone to a new phone, so you can go back and check to make sure that you've got everything.
Yeah, no, that's what's weird about it, because I just double checked it, and when they transferred it over,
you might have accidentally erased them.
Check a deleted folder or something like that.
Yeah,
but go to the online account for Google Photos and Samsung Photos to see if they're there, and just not on the phone itself.
Right, exactly.
I'll check the Samsung. That's a good idea. I just ignore that because they push it. You're right. I use all the Google stuff just automatically, So I'll check that Samsung. That's a good idea. All right. Thanks, guys.
Yep.
Good luck.
Bye.
Thanks, Ed. Yeah, that's one of the issues we all have. We don't have enough copies of our stuff. That's why I always tell people, if you are already paying for Amazon Prime, you have unlimited photo storage available with them as well. And you can do all of them simultaneously. So do it. The more places you have your pictures, the less likely they're all going to disappear.
And I've seen both iPhone transfer and Android transfer. When you finish transferring everything to your new phone, it says, oh, okay, now you can erase the old phone and hand it down to a family member. Don't.
Right.
Wait until you're sure everything copied. Then you can go and erase the old one.
Right. And if you've taken it to a dealer, to a store, and had them do it for you, again, make it very clear several times during the transfer process that you do not want them to erase the old phone until you have checked. The problem is we can't always trust that the technology is going to work the way we'd like it to. That's simple enough. I hate to say that, but
when it does work, we're shocked.
Yes, that's a very good point.
Yeah.
The more you know about computers, the more shocked you are that they actually work.
Because you can do so much damage yourself.
Right. Remember, computers let you make mistakes faster.
Well, that's why we don't ever get into telling folks how to go into the registry and change stuff. Because that is the most dangerous thing besides pointing a gun to the computer and pulling the trigger.
Right.
You could wipe out the whole thing that it'll do. By doing one small keystroke, you could wipe out the registry or cause damage to the registry that makes it a brick.
That's exactly right. And you have to be quite careful playing around in the registry. We have to admit that we ourselves don't like to play around in the registry at all. All right, that music tells us that the first hour is done. If you are on the line, please stay on the line. We will get back to you as soon as we come back from break. If you're not on the line, why not? Give us a call, 585-966-JAZZ. It's 966-5299. Toll free, 800-790-0415. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes with Dave Enright, with Steve Ray, with me, Nick Francesco, and with you. We've got a whole nother hour of this show coming along. So get in the queue and we'll get to everybody as fast as we can. I know we've got at least one person on the line and one person calling in, so we will get to everybody. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes. It's 59 minutes after the hour. It's Soundbites. It is member supported, and we thank you for that. Jazz 90.1. See you in just a couple of minutes.
Computer talk you can understand. More Soundbites is next on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
WGMC Greece Rochester, a public service of the Greece Central School District and official media partner of this year's CGI Rochester International Jazz Festival, Jazz 90.1.
On Twitter at 901jazz.
NBC News Radio, I'm Dina Kodiak. Heavy fighting is reported as Israel expands its military operations in southern Gaza. The Israeli military is also ordering new evacuations of civilians in Rafah. The call for Palestinians to leave the area follows President Biden's decision to withhold sending offensive weapons to Israel if it attacked the city where thousands are seeking shelter. The UN agency helping to provide food, water, and medicine to Palestinians said at least 300,000 people are affected by the evacuation orders. No arrests or clashes are being reported after pro-Palestinian demonstrators in Philadelphia marched between two university campuses Friday night. Protesters started near the University of Pennsylvania campus and then stopped outside of the official residence of the president. Police officers got involved when some of the protesters entered the gate of the property. Former President Trump will hold a campaign rally on the Jersey Shore after another week in a New York City courtroom. Trump will speak at a beachfront event today in the town of Wildwood in South New Jersey. Dina Kodiak, NBC News Radio.
The Jazz 90.1 Daily Club Calendar is brought to you in part by our members and by jazzrochester.com.
Jazz 90.1 is supported in part by our members and by the CGI Rochester International Jazz Festival, presenting vocalist Samara Joy in concert. Friday, June 28th at 8 p.m. at Kodak Hall at Eastman Theater.
Can't get out of this mood.
For more information and to purchase tickets, you may visit rochesterjazz.com.
Get out of this mood.
Here's another I Love New York travel tip.
May is Asian Pacific American Heritage Month, and in New York State, you'll find many ways to celebrate and honor the achievements and contributions of Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders. In the Catskills, visit Mahayana Buddhist Temple in South Cairo, a wonderful location to reset, escape hectic city life, and enjoy meditation. In the Hudson Valley, gain an appreciation of the artistic traditions of the East at the Hammond Museum and Japanese Stroll Garden in North Salem. The museum features art exhibitions, as well as programs in music, dance, theater, and art, plus a beautiful Japanese stroll garden. In New York City's Staten Island, the New York Chinese Scholars Garden boasts magnificent rocks resembling mountains and is only one of 2 authentic classical outdoor Chinese gardens built in the U.S. For more information, visit the I Love New York website at iloveny.com. It's easy to love New York.
May is American Stroke Month. Stroke is a leading cause of death and permanent brain injury. Yet, stroke can be treated when quickly recognized. Warning signs include sudden weakness or numbness, trouble seeing, walking, or speaking, and unexplained sudden severe headache. Immediate treatment can reduce your risk of death or permanent injury. Remember, stroke can be treated when recognized quickly. Get help as soon as you see the signs. For more information, visit radiologyinfo.org.
The Age of Reason took place over 200 years ago. Truth, reason, and tolerance thrived and even shaped the U.S. Constitution. Now those building blocks of democracy are under attack. Big tech social media billionaires allow disinformation and hate to hurt our children, polarize us, and cause violence and terror in our communities. Online lies and hate affect everything, everyone, everywhere. Be a part of the change. Help defend our democracy. Go to counterhate.com to learn more.
More than 6 million Americans are living with Alzheimer's, with more than 11 million family members and friends serving as caregivers. The toll of the disease is monumental, and no one should face Alzheimer's or dementia by themselves. Free help is available 24/7. For resources and support, visit the Alzheimer's Association at alz.org or call the helpline at 800-272-3900. You are not alone.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Nick Francesco.
I'm Dave Enright.
And I'm Steve Ray.
And at 4 minutes after the hour, we are Soundbites, and we have Bill from Greece, New York on the line. What's up, Bill?
Hi. I got 2 quick points. One for Fred. Isn't there a Debian package installer called Gdebi that he could load on his Ubuntu, and that would open up his Debian package?
Yes, there is. Gdebi. Okay, so Debian packages are the programs, are the file format that holds the programs that load onto Debian. Normally you use, as I said, at the command line, a program called apt. But you're right, there's a program called Gdebi, which is a graphical Debian installer, Gdebi, the graphical Debian installer. And you are absolutely right, Bill. I simply don't think of it because I don't use it because I do everything at the command line because I'm controlling a dozen different machines and I'm so used to being at the command line.
Yeah, it's just easier.
As I remote into them.
It's so much. It feels like you got more control.
Right.
At least to me, it does.
But you're absolutely right. Gdebi, it should be available on a system. And again, if it's not already installed, you would have to install it.
I'm posting a link for it.
There you go.
Okay.
Well, hold on. I'm just typing. Yes, it's built in. So you would simply type sudo apt install Gdebi from a command line, and it will install both the Gdebi core and the Gdebi program, and then that will be available in your list of programs, and you would then be able to use that to install other things.
Okay. It's too bad you've got that problem with being too smart.
Well, being too used
Focused.
to the way I use it,
Yeah, a narrow focus, sometimes you forget.
Yep.
Okay, my second point is I got an email a couple of days ago from Roadrunner saying that my Roadrunner account was going to expire and that I needed to click here to renew it, my email. And I said, whoa, wait a minute. So I called Spectrum, and, you're going to go through a computer voice thing at 10, 15 steps.
Yeah.
But I learned a trick that might help other people that are trying to contact, for any reason. The first computer comes up and asks you a question, just say the word representative.
Yep. A lot of times it
When
works.
When you say the word representative, it bypasses all of the computer questions and takes you to a live person to talk with.
A lot of times hitting 0 on the keypad
Yeah,
sends you to
that
an
too.
operator.
Yeah. So I just thought I'd bring that up.
No,
because
good point.
Appreciate that, Bill. Thank you.
When I got to Spectrum, they says, we didn't send you any
Yep,
email
it's
like that.
It's a
And I
fake
said,
message. Accounts
Mhm.
don't expire. They get
it looks
discontinued. If you
exact-
ever leave Roadrunner, they'll discontinue your email, but
Yeah.
they don't expire.
It looks exactly like
Yep.
the Roadrunner
Yeah.
account, but you guys always say call your bank, call the number. Don't rely on that, and don't click on anything. But
Yes.
that word,
Worst thing you could do.
Yep. Now,
Save a lot of time.
Yeah, and because Frontier just did a major change of switching to Yahoo backend servers and shutting down the Frontier servers, every Frontier customer had to change their email program, so there were a lot of confusion and email messages going around about Frontier service. So some bad guy said, hey, let's try to scam people with Spectrum too.
Yep.
It's an opportunity for them to scam.
Good job not falling for it, Bill.
Yeah. Thank you very much, and I am a supporter, and anybody can still support. Just go online.
You're right, Bill. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Yep, and thank you for that unsolicited testimonial. And for those of you who did not know this, I can't imagine there isn't anyone, but in case you don't know this, you can go to jazz901.org, click the big red Donate Now button, and become a member of the station. This station truly is public supported, member supported. We don't get federal money, state money, all that other stuff. Our funding comes from you, and if you like what we do and you want to keep us on the air, the easiest way to do that is to make a donation, become a member of the station, donation station, and that would be best. So, for all those of you who have become members, been members, increased your membership, threw us extra money, all of that stuff, God bless each and every one of you. We thank you.
Macedon.
Okay. All right. Our next caller is Steve from Macedon, New York. What's up, Steve?
Yes, good afternoon, gentlemen. I called several weeks ago. My wife and I both had a problem. We're using Thunderbird for Roadrunner email.
Okay.
She's on Windows and I'm on Linux, and you gave us some suggestions and stuff. I just wanted to let you know what worked for her. She found out that Thunderbird has a troubleshooting mode. I didn't know this existed, and when you enter troubleshooting mode, it asks to disable add-ons. So she disabled the add-ons, and one of the add-ons evidently was causing her trouble. We couldn't send email. So there's an add-on called Compact Header. She set that from true to false, restarted Thunderbird, and now was able to get her mail.
Interesting. Thank you.
Yeah. As for myself, I didn't try that. I changed my password. I went through a period of a couple of days where I could then suddenly send but not receive. So finally I just say, well, I'll set it by the side for a while. A week later, I tried it, and everything worked fine. So, who knows, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
What that tells me is that the problem wasn't at your end.
Yeah, it sounded like it was at Spectrum's end there, but they said, nope, we have no problems. There's no outages, no nothing.
We have no reported problems.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Or
So
we
I'm
don't have
looking
enough reported problems.
Mhm. Yeah, it's got to raise to a certain level before it raises any eyebrows.
Right.
Yeah, but the Mozilla forum moderators, the forum was very helpful. Great bunch of people up there. So my wife was so impressed that she sent in a donation. I guess they're Mozilla.
Yep, very good for her. The Mozilla Foundation.
Yeah, Thunderbird. Yep.
Yeah, great stuff.
Yeah, so I hope she's not here and she's too shy to call, but I hope I read her notes properly. But it was troubleshooting mode and then disabling that extension that solved the problem for her.
Well, that's why we, as you well know, we're big advocates of supporting software writers, because through your support, they can produce better product, updates, and the better support than a non-paying person.
Right. So thank you, Steve.
Yep.
And thank your wife for us.
Yes.
All right. Well, have a wonderful weekend, gentlemen.
You too.
Yep. All right. Bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah, it's as Dave said, we're big proponents of supporting your software manufacturers. Lots of people put out free software, and that's great. Free is always good, but if you want them to continue to support that product and make fixes and changes and additions and keep it rolling, then it never hurts to throw a few bucks at them. Even $5, $10. It's not the amount so much as the encouragement. I remember back in the day, Jim Button had his buttonware.
North Carolina.
Yeah. Jim Button had buttonware. His name was actually Jim Knopf, which apparently Knopf is German for button, I guess. He had buttonware, and I sent him a few bucks for his file program, and he sent me a letter. He actually wrote me a letter. He said, "Holy cow, somebody paid me. That's great." And he was very nice about it. So, our next caller is Dan from somewhere in North Carolina. Dan, you there? Dan is not there.
Lost him. Sorry.
Sorry, Dan. Call back, please.
Dan?
This happens.
Yeah, Dan.
We have.
Okay, hold on. Yeah, let me try again.
Is that still Dan? Yeah. Okay. We'll see. We'll see if we can get hold of Dan this time. Again, a lot of it is sunspots rather than the solar flare. You there, Dan?
Yeah, yes, this is Don, but thank you anyway.
Oh, hi, Don. Where are you calling from in North Carolina?
I'm calling from a little village of Farrington, about 8 miles south of Chapel Hill, a house that we bought for winter escapes. Nice. I'll be back the end of May, and I hope your rain subsides a bit.
Yeah, well, yeah, that would be nice.
Okay, I would like to revisit a topic that I think you talked about some time ago, and that is the potential conflict with having two antivirus programs on the same computer.
Mm-hmm.
Here's my situation: a Windows 10 laptop, and it seems like about a year ago, or maybe a little less. I don't know what I did, but I've got two installed. One is TotalAV, and the other one is AVG. There doesn't seem to be a conflict. In fact, they seem to complement each other, with TotalAV being a bit more robust in terms of alerts and notifying. Both programs, incidentally, are the free versions. What's the potential problem, and what do you recommend? Should I, even though there seems to be no conflict, should I uninstall one of them?
Well, in general, we don't believe you need more than one antivirus program. You should have an antivirus program and a spyware killer and like that, but you don't need two antivirus programs. In fact, you may well have three if Windows Defender is also running.
Yeah.
But so I would check into that. You seem to like TotalAV, so keep that one.
It tends to get higher scores, I've seen, than AVG.
Right.
I wondered about that.
Yeah. Although you have to be careful because there's a fake TotalAV too.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the big problems of running two antiviruses is that each antivirus program has a list of definitions of known viruses. The other antivirus program can see that list and think it's the real virus, and you get false positives.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, the way TotalAV is set up, and I'm saying it's more robust, is that it very often, when I go to a website, it says potential danger, best not to allow this. This happens really frequently, and I think there are some setting adjustments where you can temper that.
Yeah, that's beyond the scope of an antivirus program. That's moving into browser security check.
Right.
And so that's probably why AVG doesn't do that, because it doesn't have that feature.
Right.
And in many cases, Google does that for you anyway. In fact, TotalAV is probably using the Google list.
Ah, okay. Well, I think from what you've said, I might be better off just uninstalling the AVG. And once again, the name of your super uninstall package is Enpass?
ENPASS is the password manager software.
Right, yes, that's okay.
The uninstaller is Revo Uninstaller.
REVO.
Got it. Okay, I've got that on the computer. Okay, I think that takes care of my question and concern about two AV antivirus programs. Thank you very much, as usual, and we continue to listen and continue to support WGMC.
There you go.
WXXI.
Get it right, Don. Thanks. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah.
He remembers our old days.
Right. You generally only need one antivirus program running. Having multiple programs running, as Steve said, they can conflict with each other. At the very least, they're taking up processor cycles.
Yeah, slowing the machine down.
Your machine will be slower. Also, always check if you don't want to use Windows Defender, actively go in and turn it off. Because depending on which version of Windows you're running and where you got it from and whether it came set up on your laptop already or not or whatever, it may already be running in the background. So if you don't want it, actively go in and turn it off. If you do want it, actively go in and make sure it's running. But you only need one, and whether it's AVG or Windows Defender or TotalAV, Mox Nix these days doesn't much matter one way or the other.
AVG got in trouble recently for selling user data without disclosing it.
Right.
So now they disclose it.
Well,
They still sell your user data, but now they're disclosing it.
Well, I just ran into an issue with the latest Windows update on my waste machine, and that I had to disable Super Anti-Spyware, turn that off for a few minutes so I could do the updates to Enpass, because Super Anti-Spyware was blocking Enpass from doing the updates. And evidently had been doing it a while. She wasn't paying attention to it, so I turned it off. Did the 2 updates to it.
Wow.
Yeah. And then turned it back on, and everything's happy.
Nice. Yeah, that's the other issue. When you are using some programs, other programs like antivirus programs may not know about them. And so they may block them from installing or updating. But if you do, in fact, turn off your antivirus for any reason, put a little Post-it on your machine to remember to turn it back on again.
A lot of them will have a turn off for half an hour option.
Right.
Because they know installing other programs often has trouble, and you have to temporarily disable your AV.
Right. Okay, before we go back to the phones, I do want to remind everybody that tomorrow is Mother's Day, so there will be no lounge.
Yeah.
There will be no lounge tomorrow night. Spend some time with your mothers, or your significant others, or your insignificant. I don't care. Yeah, spend some time
Take the
in
day
the
off.
real world. Yeah. But we will be back. For those of you who are Ask Nick members, we will be doing Wednesday night again. And for those of you who are listening to Soundbites, we'll be back next Sunday at 9 p.m. For the lounge. But in the meantime, we will talk to Gary from Rochester, New York. Hi, Gary. What's up?
Hey.
Hi.
I'm calling about earlier caller, Fred, who was trying to install MoneyDance on Ubuntu.
Uh-huh.
All right. He had a deb file, and you were talking about selecting the deb file and having it bring up the software installer, and that reminded me that this week I was looking at what's new in Ubuntu 24.04, and interestingly enough, Ubuntu is moving away from having support for automatically installing deb files. It was one of the things that they were mentioning in kind of the negatives, the cons of the new version. It looks like they're trying to push people towards Snap and Flatpak.
Right. Well, Snap in particular, it's a Canonical. Canonical is the company that makes Ubuntu, and they also are the people who make snaps.
So,
explain snaps.
The article I was reading said that you're going to find that if you select a deb file, you're not going to have a GUI come up to take you into automatic software installation. And that's aggravating people, and you're going to have to do it at a terminal or using something like Gdebi.
Yeah, it sounds like they're not installing Gdebi by default. Okay, so let me explain the different formats of software. We already talked about the Debian format. It's a way to package a program so that it is easy to install.
Right. And
When you sorry, go ahead.
I use Ubuntu, and I have not moved to 24 yet. But I'm, of course, familiar with, having pretty automatic installation of dev files through the software installer. But it looks like with the advent of 24, that's going to be reduced, if not completely eliminated, in the future versions.
Interesting. I'm actually getting a new laptop Monday, and I will be putting the latest Ubuntu on it and playing with that and see what happens. Thank you.
A new to you laptop.
A new to me laptop. It's a refurb. Although I may not get it. My wife's laptop is dying, so it may come in and go immediately to her. But that's okay, too. But I will check that out. Thank you, Gary.
Yeah, unfortunately, things that we've relied on in the past with Linux and Ubuntu, they're slipping away or being removed or reduced. So
Right.
We're all going to have to learn, workarounds for stuff like that.
Right. All right, thanks, Gary.
Thank you.
All right, so let me explain the difference between the multiple port packaging formats quickly. The Debian format works like Windows works. You install a program, it installs on the hard drive, it melds in with all the other programs, it shares libraries and stuff like that. The problem with that is that you write a program that requires one version of the library. I write a program that requires another version of the library, and they are incompatible, and at some point there's going to be an issue. You install multiple versions of the same library, and somebody's going to screw up somewhere sometime. Snaps create an entire environment. It's like little mini computers running inside your machine, little virtual machines. So when you install a snap and say, for example, I want to install the snap of Thunderbird, it actually spins up a little machine inside your computer that runs Thunderbird. It doesn't connect. There are ways to connect it to other things. Obviously, you can save files and all that other stuff, but it doesn't use any other libraries from Windows. It is a wholly contained internal unit. Canonical likes this because it means that there are fewer problems with any individual program, because the people who write the program pick the libraries that get installed. The problem with this is that snaps are very large and they take up a lot of room in your machine. So that's less of a problem than it used to be. The minimum you get in a machine these days is 4 gig of RAM and 128 gig hard drive. And most come with 256 or 512 or a terabyte. So if you've got a terabyte hard drive and 16 gig of RAM, you can run snaps all day long and not even notice it. And that's fine. Flatpak is another kind of snap-like thing. It does the same thing snaps do, only for another in another format. There's also one called App Image, which does the same thing again, only it's yet another format. And you can run all of these on your computer at the same time. Flatpak requires you to install the Flatpak base. Snap does too, but it's already installed on Ubuntu. And like Gary said, Ubuntu is moving to snaps because it just makes life a lot easier. A lot fewer interactions between software means a lot fewer problems with interactions between software. And that's why they're doing it. And there are people who just don't like snaps because my grandparents used Debian and it was fine for them. I don't know why I sounded like Jimmy Stewart just then, but I did. But snaps are fine. They work fine. A lot of people actually prefer them because, like I said, there's no interaction. They all work together, but they don't interfere with each other in any way, shape, or form. I use a number of programs that are snapped, and they work great. And I use a number of programs that are in Debian format, and they work great, and they work together.
You just have to switch back and forth between the two modes of thinking.
Yep, it's just different modes of thinking. But from a user perspective, I install a snap, and it shows up in my list of programs. I install a Debian, it shows up in my list. The end user doesn't care.
I thought we had it rough in the Mac world between a drag install and a double-click install.
No, you pikers, you children.
Yeah.
We've got at least those 4 formats and probably some more that I don't pay attention to. But so Ubuntu is moving to more fully to snaps. And it's also easier for the programmer. They don't have to worry about as many interactions. They create the system that they want, the way they want, and it works the way they like, and you're done. You're done. So a lot of programmers also like snaps and flatpaks and app images. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Whew. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes with Dave Enright, Steve Ray, me, Nick Francesco, and you. It's 29 minutes after the hour. You're listening to the longest-running computer show in the known universe, Sound Bytes, right here on member-supported Jazz 90.1. See you in a couple.
Online 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at soundbytes.org. More with Nick Francesco, Dave Enright, and Steve Ray next on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
NBC News Radio, I'm Dina Kodiak. The Israeli military is expanding evacuation orders for civilians in Rafah ahead of an expected full-scale ground invasion of the southern Gaza city. The call for Palestinians to leave the area follows President Biden's decision to withhold sending offensive weapons to Israel if it attacked the city where thousands are seeking shelter. The UN agency helping to provide food, water, and medicine to Palestinians said at least 300,000 people are affected by the evacuation orders. The U.S. is rolling out a new $400 million military aid package for Ukraine. Lisa Taylor reports.
The package includes Patriot missiles, Stinger anti-aircraft missiles, and other munitions. The aid comes weeks after Congress passed a national security supplemental that provides more than $60 billion in assistance for Kyiv. Russia today kicked off a major attack on the Kharkiv region, putting more pressure on Ukrainian forces.
The New York judge in the hush money trial is telling former Trump lawyer Michael Cohen to stop talking about the case. Cohen is set to testify at the trial on Monday. Dina Kodiak, NBC News Radio.
Whether you have a large or small planting budget, the more you save on each project means the more projects you can do. Hi, I'm Melinda Myers, horticulturist and gardening expert. Use 5-gallon buckets that contain non-toxic materials or old nursery pots available from recycling bins at most garden centers when growing tomatoes in containers. Be sure to fill the container with a quality potting mix. Start with the smaller, less expensive tomato plants. They'll suffer less transplant shock, recover quickly, and catch up or even surpass the larger transplants. Split a 6-pack or flat of tomatoes with friends. It's often cheaper to buy larger quantities, and you'll all save money when you share. Use handles of broken garden tools or other found items to support your plants. And don't forget to mulch the soil. Use evergreen needles or shred fallen leaves that most of us have on our property. Check out our website for this and other gardening tips. Jazz 90.1 is supported in part by Summit Responsible Solutions, a manufacturer of organic, all-natural mosquito control products under the Mosquito Dunks brand name. Mosquito dunks can be used in ponds, bird baths, rain barrels, or wherever water collects. Non-toxic to people, pets, fish, birds, and other wildlife, mosquito dunks are available at local and national garden centers everywhere. Information on how to control mosquitoes can be found at summitresponsiblesolutions.com. Jazz 90.1 is supported in part by our members and by animal repellent Plant Skid. It's organic and safe for use on fruits and vegetable gardens, as well as trees, shrubs, and flowers. Plant Skid uses odors associated with predators, encouraging animals like deer, rabbits, bulls, elk, moose, chipmunks, and squirrels to dine elsewhere. Information on how to protect plants from animal damage can be found at plantskydd.com. That's plantskid.com.
Are you thinking of adding a pet to your family? Greece Residents Assisting Stray Pets, or GRASP, is committed to reducing the number of homeless pets by placing dogs and cats into compatible, loving, permanent homes. For more information on how you can give a homeless pet a second chance through adoption, visit graspinc.org. GRASP, striving for the day when every dog and cat will live in a loving, safe, and healthy home.
And now, your Jazz 90.1 weather.
The weekend will not be an entire washout, but we will be dodging raindrops both days. Your Saturday features more clouds than sun with a few widely scattered showers, especially into the afternoon and evening. I can't rule out an isolated thunderstorm as well, and it's still going to be on the cool side. The normal high right now is right around 67 or 68 degrees. The top temp Saturday near 60. Saturday night, a few scattered showers, the low in the mid-40s, and it's mostly cloudy for Sunday with a couple of scattered showers, the high near 60. I'm meteorologist Josh Nichols for Jazz 90.1.
And currently right now we've got overcast skies, 62 degrees out at the airport and 64 degrees here at member-supported Jazz 90.1.
This is Rob Linton. Join me tomorrow afternoon from 4 to 6 on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Nick Francesco.
I'm Dave Enright.
And I'm Steve Ray.
And at 34 minutes after the hour, we are Sound Bytes.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
And the caller hung up.
You can give us a call, 585-966-JAZZ. That's 966-5299. Toll free, 800-790-0415. And I just noticed my laptop had not been plugged in. Luckily, the battery's dang good, so it didn't shut down in the middle of anything today, so that's nice. All right, to the phones. Our next caller, Steve from Greece, New York. What's up, Steve?
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
I have a question that I'm sure in your brilliance you'll be able to answer.
Yeah, no pressure.
None at all. I frequently highlight an article or something from the internet and paste it into a Word document. And I do directly so that any links are active. If it's an active link in the article, it'll be active on the Word document.
Right.
But it always brings over whatever background is there. If you've got a gray background, it brings that over. I would like to be able to eliminate that background. That background setting on Word does not touch it. Do you know how to eliminate the background? I've pasted it into, the normal text in the notepad and then brought it back, and the background is still there.
Yeah.
There should be a paste text only command in Word. Normally paste is Control V, so Control Shift V.
Right.
Should and Command Shift V on the Mac does a paste text only.
But
So
then I'd lose my active link, correct?
not necessarily, because Word should see the HTTPS:// whatever and turn that back into a link.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, theoretically, but you're right. If what you're seeing is a link that isn't HTTPS, it's just
just a link.
Click here to see Fred.
Yeah.
When that comes over, all you'll get is click here to see Fred, and you would have to put that link in yourself.
Or it may expand it and show you the whole link.
It may, but it may not. But Control Shift V will let you paste as text only.
Because you're not pasting the attributes.
Right.
And one of those attributes is background color. So it's you get all the attributes or you get none of them.
It's one of those all or nothing.
Yeah. Well, then you highlight it and change the background color to nothing.
Well, you can't. It doesn't work that way.
Right. Because what's happening is you're actually getting a full representation of the page, including background and text, formatting and files and font sizes and everything else. And if you paste as text only, you just get text.
Right.
But you may not get that link. And I get it. But there's no third choice on Word.
Well, thanks a lot.
Yeah, we did that on purpose just because we hate you.
Yeah, I can tell it's... Try not to keep it personal, guys. You really...
We have to?
All right. Sorry, Steve.
All right. Thank you.
Sorry. Bye-bye.
Yep.
Yeah. There's no middle ground. Paste everything as text except the link. That would be actually kind of nice, actually.
Yeah.
I'm seeing one that says, then hit Control Q to reset formatting. Or Control Spacebar to reset character formatting. That may remove the background. But it also may remove the link.
Exactly. So, there's no third way around that. The other, I get it. I don't know what to
It is what it is.
There's only so much that they're going to be
Yeah,
able to do.
Hello.
Yeah.
Can't please all the people all the time. It just never happens in life. No matter what they come up with, there's going to be that one person out in that crowd that's going to sit there and say, yeah, but
When
this.
I was an actor, you'd be in a room of 1,100 people watching a show. And there'd just be this one son of a gun in the front row who wasn't happy. And some of the actors would get so angry and so upset about one person. And I would say, okay, you've got 1,099 people loving this show out of 1,100. One person is making you crazy?
Yes.
Yes, I understand that.
Why doesn't it like me?
Right.
Speaking of which, I saw a post. I forget who posted it, but it was this picture of a band, and these folks are on stage playing instruments, and I automatically thought of you.
Thank you.
Reason being, he was in a red dress.
There you go. Could have been me.
The reason I say that is because I actually saw Nick decades ago in a dress on stage for Black Friar. I believe it was, wasn't it?
No, it was a company called Melick and Mime.
Okay.
And it was dinner theater.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
I
it
was
was
I
great.
was playing Mama.
Yeah.
I played Mama in You Must Pay the Rent.
That was-
that was fun. That was a lot of fun.
But I saw that and playing the instrument. It was either a guitar or a banjo.
Banjo.
And I saw the red dress. I thought, is that Nick?
Yeah, exactly. Yes, and I was that was me. I had great gams in those days.
Yeah.
We did.
I can remember
we did that show.
laughing our butts off.
Yep. Thank you. That was the point of the show.
Oh, that was so funny. I mean, even my late wife, it wound up bringing tears to her eyes
Good.
because she
Good.
was
That was the point.
rolling over in her seat.
Good. I just sent a text message to Tommy Dudzik, who was the guy who wrote that show. Apparently there was a Dudzik Day in Buffalo, May 5th, which is, I think, his birthday. And every May 5th, I send him a happy Tom Dudzik Day message. And then he writes back and says, "You're the only person on the planet who remembers this."
Hey?
Was Steve Martin really in town this week?
Yeah.
Did you see all the fake memes that got posted for him? I got caught. Colonial Bell posted one where he's because they just made it back from their Lions dry dock for the winter, and they're back in Fairport, and Steve Martin is there, and then exact same picture from Genesee Country Museum, and the exact same picture from some other.
Right.
So places all over town were posting this exact same picture.
Just changing the background.
Yeah. After the second or third one, I'm thinking, okay, this is a meme. Is he really in town?
Right. He was really in town.
Because he's coming for the jazz festival.
Right. I don't know that any of the rest of it is true. But
is
yeah,
he
is
playing?
The whatever
his bluegrass band.
Yeah.
He gets going. I saw one of his performances.
Something Canyon Rangers, I think it is.
Here at the Jazz Fest, it has to be about 5-6 years ago when he was here. And he does a very entertaining show because he'll sit there, he'll play the banjos there for a while, and he's turning around and looking, and he goes, "Yeah, I got to keep switching up because the rest of these banjos feel guilty if I don't play a tune on them, and I don't want them getting ticked off at me."
Right.
And he goes into this whole monologue, and then he starts playing, and he is really a good banjo player.
He's also got great banjo. I told you I met him.
Yeah.
I was at a place called Elderly Instruments in Michigan, and I knew the guy who ran the place, and I was there every Monday because our theater was dark. And he said, "I just got this great banjo in, and you should play it." I said, "Okay." So he got the banjo for me, and I sat in they have private little rooms, little cubicles to sit in and play. And I was sitting and playing with it. Man, this banjo was sweet. I'm an okay. I was back when I didn't have arthritis. I was an okay banjo player, but I was good on this banjo because it was a good banjo, and I could do things that I really have never been able to do before. And I'm sitting there, I'm hunched over the banjo, and I'm playing, and I'm grooving, and I'm having a great time. All of a sudden, I hear, "Well, excuse me." I look up. It's Steve Martin. It was his banjo.
Oh, really?
And he had come to pick it up. So I laughed. He laughed. He said, I tried to tell him the story. He said, I already talked to the owner. I get it. Not a problem. You're clearly taking good care. You clearly know how to play. I'm not worried. Big deal. And he said, "But here's your banjo." I said, "Thank you very much." We talked about banjos. We talked about bluegrass music. We talked. He's not. I mean, he's a great comedian, but he's also an amazing bluegrass player.
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool.
Well, that's the whole thing. I mean, too many people will sit there and start not take the time to listen to their other interest.
Right.
That he enjoys bluegrass, music, and plays the banjo and to learn about that. I ran into an experience like that way back when Comdex was going on with Microsoft, and what's his name was there. I'm having a brain fart. The head of Microsoft.
Bill Gates?
Yes, thank you. Brain fart. But he was there, and he came over to our table and, sitting around, "How are you guys enjoying Comdex and all this other stuff?" And we started to talk to him, and we started to talk to him about his cars because he likes expensive cars and talked about other stuff.
Yep.
And he is a very interesting and down-to-earth person.
Yep.
But then, of course, we had this one Yahoo had to come over and complain about Windows. And he turned to us, because there was like 6 of us sitting there, and he goes, "Hey, guys, really enjoyed talking to you. Hope you enjoy the rest of the show." And he took off.
Sure, of course he did.
And it's like, folks, granted, he's Bill Gates and he's a famous person, but even they like to get out once in a while and just be human.
Right. Back in the day, I was doing the dinner theater in Detroit, and I was walking through the restaurant. It was, the grass should end, and it was this big hotel, restaurant, everything, party house, and we were there. So I'm walking through the dining room on my way to get ready for the show, and there's L.V. Moore. Now, you may not know who L.V. Moore is. He was in Petticoat Junction. He was Hank Agent, your County Kimball.
Yep.
But I knew that he had been the producer of a movie called A Boy and His Dog, introducing a relatively unknown young man named Don Johnson. So I'm walking through and I stopped and said, Mr. Moore, I'm not going to bother you. I know you're eating dinner. I just have one quick question. How the hell did you get them to let you film the ending to A Boy and His Dog? His face lit up. He pushed the chair out across from him. He said, sit down.
Really?
Bought me dinner. We talked for...
Holy mackerel.
They eventually came up to find me because they didn't know where I was because I was late. And we had chit-chatted about everything that wasn't Petticoat Junction. You know, how to be a producer, what he had done, who he had talked to, deals he had made, yada, yada, yada.
Stuff they enjoy talking about.
And his face was lit up the whole time.
Yep,
Because
exactly.
it wasn't, oh, I loved you in this, and how, you know, well, how was Arnold the pig, and you know, he didn't care. But the rest of it, he was completely into. So yeah, absolutely.
And like I say, Bill Gates. I also ran into that with Dennis Hayes.
Yeah,
I met him one time at Comdex, and you know, just to hear his history of how he came up with it and all that other stuff, then talking business and all this other stuff.
Yep.
You know how they just enjoy talking about that and how they grew up and got into this world because back then
I once met the banjo player for a little group called Old and in the Way. And we talked about banjos for about an hour. That man's name? Jerry Garcia.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. From the Grateful Dead.
Yeah, seriously?
Yes. He was a banjo player. He was a bluegrass banjo player.
Okay.
And I talked to him for a while. We never mentioned the Grateful Dead. We never mentioned rock. We never mentioned anything
They
except
love the break from constantly being peppered about that.
He just couldn't stop talking.
They're human beings too, and they enjoy talking about other stuff than constantly talking about their band or this movie or whatever they were an actor or this or that. They have other interests, and sometimes if you know enough about them and know their other interests, they'll sit there and talk to you for quite a while. I haven't found many that wouldn't, because they enjoy it. It's a break for them.
Yep, that's exactly right.
I once had a chat with Guy Kawasaki in the line to the restroom at Macworld one year.
Yep.
You know how busy it is when there's a line to the men's room.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, no lie.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think that's when I got him to come to Rochester to do a cider meeting.
There you go. But those were the days, when they don't do those kind of PC Expo. And I gave a talk at PC Expo once, and the people I met and the connections that I made.
That was the whole thing about those cons.
Yeah.
It's the people that were there.
I went to Comdex, I think it was like 6 years in a row. I was with PC Cubed.
Yep.
And the great folks that I met and contacts and that, unbelievable. Peter Norton is another one. He is so down to earth, it's unbelievable.
Yep. Particularly if you're not complaining about some tiny little glitch in your computer.
Yep.
That is clearly his fault.
Well, and back to Boy and His Dog. So the Ghoul and Dogmeat characters in Fallout, the TV show, on the video game, are based on Don Johnson and Blood.
Yeah, yeah.
Vic and Blood. So it's
But the way his face, at first he looked up at me like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
And then when he realized I didn't want an autograph, and I didn't want to talk about Petticoat Junction, and I want to talk about the movie, and clearly what he said at some point was, you watch the credits. Because in those days, there was no IMDb.
Yep.
He said, you watch the credits. I said, the credits are the most important part of the movie. And he couldn't be any happier than he was at that moment. So, talk to people about their interests. It's always a good thing. All right, back to the phone. We're going to talk to Ken from Rochester, New York, about his interests. Hi, Ken. What's up?
Well, you want my interest. My interest is
before I even ask you the question why I called, you guys kibitzing is really fun. I enjoy it immensely.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Stories, you can't buy that. And Nick, you still need to write the book. Maybe you can get your two compadres to instead of being all about you.
Well, you got to wait for the statute of limitations to expire on a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
You think you're joking.
Yeah. No,
Well,
no.
I don't mean that in a way of jokingly. I think it would be a fun book. I think it'd be a fun read.
Well, it would certainly amuse us. I don't know if anybody else.
Well, we've had it's been a fun ride for, the three of us over, all this time, 33 years, coming up on 34. We've seen a lot. Like I say, we go back to the old big, huge computers that sat there and took up, 5 1/4 floppies with a monochrome screen, no mouse, no CD driver, or any of that other stuff. Matter of fact, Steve quite often talks about doing cassette tapes. And I can remember still punch cards, and we've kid about that, So, yeah, we've been through this whole motion to where now, they say, well, you don't talk much about computers because a lot of the computers have gone away. They're in your hand. There's the phones, the laptops, and the tablets. Big computers are something that, folks use here and there, but not as much. Our whole lives have changed so much, just as, the whole world of computing has changed.
I agree wholeheartedly.
So we have a lot of fun with it because we, can rely on the three of us, the years of experience that we've seen, to when I used to do the Dave Story Hour, and when I had my shop open, that I could come in with some great stories and Nick could talk about his experience in the shop. And Steve is always talking about, different stuff that happens in his shop and that because people, still need them fixed once in a while. But, we have fun with it. Right. And that's what it's all about.
We're one of the things is we're rounded people. Some of us more rounded than others. But we have outside interests. Steve has rockets and planes. Dave has ham radio. And I've used to be a professional actor, for God's sake. So, we have experiences outside of the computer world
that we can share with you
that informed our choices in the computer world and make us more rounded people and give us something to talk about that isn't necessarily this chip or that hard drive.
How's the weather out there?
How is the weather out there?
Be a nice day if it don't rain.
Right.
Yeah.
And even if it does, I like the rain.
Yeah.
I think you guys should play the applause for yourself because you deserve it.
Well, thank you, Ken. We appreciate that. Thank you very much.
All right, now why I called? I wanted to bounce this off the professionals.
Yeah.
The feel safe.
That you call 1-800-555-1212.
Yeah, right.
Well, no, I think I called the right guy.
So what's up?
You were mentioning last week the feel safe carrying a cell phone. Do you feel safe? Don't carry a cell phone. I've done something since the 80s when I bought my first cell phone, which back in the day all you could get primarily was cell phones that batteries came out.
Right.
Pop them out.
Yep.
Now, all the way through and into present day today, I have never bought a phone that didn't have battery that would come out. That eliminated me from, I believe, and you can verify this, doesn't communicate. Without the battery, it's blaming.
Well, without the power, it's much harder to communicate, yes. Not necessarily impossible, depending on which phone you have, but much more difficult. And, but nowadays, of course, batteries are all hard to remove, mainly because it's so much cheaper to create a phone case that is not easily openable.
Yeah.
And then it was you take the SIM card out and they can't track you because it's not connected to the cell network, but phones are moving away from physical SIMs and toward electronic SIMs inside the phone, so that doesn't work.
Because
so now
so
we're
much
back to
stuff is-
snapping the phone in half and throwing it out the window.
Yeah, stuff is all surface mounted now, and I mean, attached into it. The battery, it's easier just to, again, surface wire it and hardwire it on in, causes less problems, less issues for folks, and less stuff they have to put in there to make the connections to have the battery hooked up to it.
Right. Now, and you're right, Ken, in general, if you take the battery out of a phone, the only thing that would allow them to connect is passive NFC, near field communications. It's the same thing that's in your credit card, right? Your credit card has no battery, but you can still pass it by a reader, and some of those readers will reach out inches or even feet. And so you can still be traced that way, but it is much rarer.
It powers the device from that transmitter.
Right. But it is much rarer, so you're much safer. But again, the only way to be absolutely 100% sure is to destroy the phone, or at least not carry it.
Right. And the convenience of having the phone with you most of the time outweighs any potential security issue you might have.
Right.
Unless you'd be someone that could be targeted.
Right.
I get it. You did give me a nuance. I didn't think about that thing like the charge card. So
yep.
That's one. But also, I secondary to that, I also solved the problem of not worrying about the battery going dead because I always carry a spare battery.
Well, I used to have 3 batteries available: one in the phone, one at home charging, and one in the at work charging. I get it. But now they don't do, which is why Dave is always harping about the battery side. He's absolutely right. They're just too small. All right, we got to go, Ken.
All right, sir. You guys have a splendid day.
You too. Thanks. That's it. We are done for another week. I want to thank Dave Enright. I want to thank Steve Ray. I'm Nick Francesco. I really want to thank everybody who called in. Great questions this week. Great conversations this week. There will not, once again, let me remind you, tomorrow is Mother's Day. Get mom something nice. You still have time. We will not have a lounge tomorrow night. There will not be a lounge tomorrow night. But we will be back next week with a whole lot more of the longest running computer show in the known universe. That's Soundbites right here on the truly great and truly grateful to you that we are member-supported Jazz 90.1. We will see you in 166 hours. Be good to one another, will you?
Stardate May 11th. It's hard.